All right, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in this world it is that you are. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayers Live, page by page reading and commentary of the modern English version of the Bible. So today we're going back into the first book of Kings, chapter 7. I'm feeling great this morning. Just woke up. I feel very energized. I haven't gotten out the bed yet, but again, I just woke up, and I think that I am going to try to push to do 2 of these readings per day. As soon as I wake up and as soon as I go to bed. I think that would be really good for me because I've just noticed that my day goes better when I have the Word of God in my mind, and I realize I sleep better when I have the Word of God in my mind. So I think I need to keep the Word of God in my mind a lot more, definitely. I've just noticed a lot of improvements in my life over the past year or so since I've been doing this live reading and commentary of the Bible. Something I've decided this morning, even if I really like the person, I've decided that anyone who I notice is in chat rooms of anyone who mocked my father's passing on my other projects, or that, people who might have been people I discussed on my other projects, I am completely banning them from my chat. I have to, because I know that a certain project I have, I'm not going to completely close. I'm just going to inject a lot of Christianity into it. But some people are really evil, And I just do need to send the message out there that if you are with or attached to or aligned with or complicit to or condone a certain type of element, you're not welcome at all in my world. And someone who's one of those people, unfortunately, just came in here, so I got to ban you. I am going to go ahead and I guess make a list of people who have known of me online. Most have never met me in person, but some have, who have made a mockery of my father's passing, issues that are important to me. There have been people I have donated to who have stabbed me in the back, unlike you wouldn't believe. There are people that I was incredibly kind to who have lied maliciously, consistently about me. I am convinced that I most likely would have had a child had it been not certain parties who maliciously, consistently lied for years about me having AIDS or HIV. So I can forgive, but I don't forget. And anyone who is attached to these people, even if you just bounce in their chat, I want nothing to do with you. And I prayed on this. And I feel that this is the response I've received. So I'm going to make that known. And I might not have any viewers. I might not have any chatters. I might not have anything like that. But I do have good people in my real life, my in-person life, because online life is real life. But my in-person life, I have some very good people. And that's enough for me. I feel like even if it's far off in the future, 100 years from now, 200 years from now, and I'm long gone, there might be people who come across these live streams that I do, and maybe my streams will be more relatable at that point. But it's just time for me to draw additional lines in the sand. So that's my personal message for this morning. Anyways, let me go ahead and get started. First book of Kings, chapter 7, Solomon's palace built. Solomon was building his own house for 13 years, and he finished all his house. He built the house of the forest, of Lebanon. Its length was 100 cubits, and its width was 50 cubits, and its height was 30 cubits, built on 4 rows of cedar pillars with cedar beams upon the pillars. And if you look at the most recent reading a commentary of the Bible I did input into the AI the dimensions of this house that Solomon built, and some beautiful renditions were created. I don't know exactly how accurate they are. I'm going to play with the AI a bit more when it comes to the house of Solomon, but I might even do the same thing when it comes to Noah's Ark. I want to see what the AI creates from the biblical descriptions, but let's continue. It was covered with cedar over the top of the beams, which sat upon 45 pillars, 15 in a row. There were window frames in the 3 rows, and the window opposite window in 3 tiers. All the doors and posts were rectangular, with the openings facing each other in 3 tiers. He made a porch of pillars with a length of 50 cubits and a breadth of 30 cubits. There was a porch in front with pillars and a canopy in front of them. Then he made a porch for the throne from which he would judge, and called it the Hall of Judgment. It was covered with cedar from one side of the floor to the other. His own house where he lived in the other court back of the hall was similar in style. Solomon also made a house like this for Pharaoh's daughter, whom he'd taken as a wife. Oh, interesting. So there was kind of an intercultural relationship there between Solomon and the Pharaoh. Very, very, very interesting. All these were built with costly stones, cut to size and sawed with saws on the inside and outside, from the foundation up to the coping or coping, throughout the outside toward the great court. The foundation was of large, costly stones, stones of 10 and 8 cubits in size. Above were costly stones cut to size, along with cedars. The great court was enclosed with 3 rows of hewed stones and a row of cedar beams. So were the inner court of the house of the Lord and the porch of the house. And good morning, Rebel Heart. I hope you're having a good day. The furnishings of the temple. Now King Solomon sent and called Hiram out of Tyre. He was the son of a widow from a tribe of Naphtali, and his father was a man of Tyre who worked in bronze, and he was filled with the wisdom and understanding and skill to make all sorts of items in bronze. So he came to King Solomon and performed his work. He cast 2 pillars of bronze, 18 cubits high and 12 cubits in circumference. He made 2 capitals of cast bronze to set on the tops of the pillars. The height of one capital was 5 cubits, and the height of the other capital was 5 cubits. He made lattices of checker work with wreaths of chain work for the capitals on top of the pillars, 7 for one capital and 7 for the other. Likewise, he made pomegranates in 2 rows around the lattice work to cover the capital that was the top of the pillar, and he did the same for the other capital. The capitals that were on top of the pillars in the porch were 4 cubits high and in the shape of lilies. The capitals on top of the 2 pillars also had pomegranates above by the convex surface, which was next to the lattice work. There were 200 pomegranates in the rows encircling each capital. He set up the pillars in the porch of the temple. He set up the right pillar and called it Jachin, and he set up the left pillar and called it Boaz. Very quickly, let me show you again those AI illustrations that I created yesterday of what some of this looked like. I think the AI is confusing the House of Solomon with the Temple of Solomon. That's why I want to input these descriptions directly when I have time. But take a look. Okay? Those are approximations of what those structures looked like. Okay, let's continue. Okay, the tops of the pillars were in the shape of lilies. This completed the work on the pillars. He made a cast metal sea, 10 cubits from one side to the other, and it was round and had a height of 5 cubits, and a line of 30 cubits encircled it. Under the brim, all the way around, were gourds, 10 in 1 cubit. When it was cast, the gourds were placed in 2 rows, going all the way around it. It stood on top of 12 oxen, with 3 facing north, 3 facing toward the west, 3 facing toward the south, and 3 facing toward the east. The sea was set on them, and their hindquarters were turned inward. It was a handbreadth thick, and the brim was made similar to the brim of a cup, like a lily blossom. It could hold 2,000 baths. So in other words, it was a pool. It definitely was. Okay. And this is why I'm saying, it would be so interesting to go back in time and see some of these miracles, some of these structures, to meet some of the people in the Bible. Oh, that would be amazing to be able to do. It really would. But let's keep going. He made 10 stands out of bronze, each measuring 4 cubits long, 4 cubits wide, and 3 cubits high. The work of the stands looked like this. They had panels, and the panels were set in the frames. And the panels that were set in the frames were lions, oxen, and cherubim. On the frames, both above and below, the lions and oxen were wreaths of beveled work. You know what? I am convinced that at one point in time, there were creatures on this earth that were cherubim, because they are depicted way too much in artwork and whatnot, in architecture, even ancient architecture, for those creatures not to have actually existed. I feel the same thing about dragons and unicorns. I do. And I think that some of those creatures might still exist somewhere on this planet today, but we just don't see them. Okay, let's continue. Every stand had 4 bronze wheels and axles of bronze, and the 4 corners were supports for a basin. The supports were cast with wreaths at the side of each. Its opening was within a crown that projected upward 1 cubit. Its opening was round like the work of a pedestal, 1 cubit and a half deep. At its opening there were engravings, and its panels were 4-sided, not round. Underneath the panels were 4 wheels, and the axles of the wheels were joined to the stand, and the height of a wheel was 1 cubit and a half. The wheels worked like chariot wheels, in that their axles and rims and spokes and hubs were all cast metal. There were 4 supports for the 4 corners of each stand, and the supports were part of one piece with the stand itself. On the top of the stand there was a round band half a cubit high, and on the top of the stand its stays and its panels were one piece with it. On the surface of its stays and on its panels he engraved cherubim. See, there we are again. I think that they were real. Lions and palm trees, according to the space of each, with wreaths all around. In this way he made the 10 stands, with them having the same shape, measure, and size. Then he made 10 basins of bronze, with each basin able to hold 40 baths, each being 4 cubits. Upon every one of the 10 stands sat 1 basin. He put 5 stands on the right side of the house, and 5 on the left side of the house. He set the sea on the right side of the house toward the southeast. Huram also made the pots, the shovels, and the basins. So Huram finished all the work in making items for King Solomon for use in the house of the Lord. The 2 pillars, the 2 bowls of the capitals that were on the top of the 2 pillars, the 2 lattice works, to cover the 2 bowls of the capitals that were upon the top of the pillars, and the 400 pomegranates for the 2 lattice works, 2 rows of pomegranates for each lattice work to cover the 2 bowls of the capitals that were on the pillars, the 10 stands and the 10 basins on the stands, 1 sea and 12 oxen under the sea, the pots, the shovels, and the basins. All these vessels that Hiram made for King Solomon for the house of the Lord were of burnished bronze. In the plain of the Jordan, the king cast them in the clay ground between Succoth and Zarethan. Solomon left all the vessels unweighed because there were so many. The weight of the bronze was also never measured. Solomon made all the vessels that were needed for the house of the Lord: the altar of gold, the table of gold on which was showbread, the candlesticks of pure gold, 5 on the right side and 5 on the left before the inner sanctuary, the flowers of the lamps, and the tongs of gold, the cups, snuffers, basins, dishes for incense, fire pans of pure gold, the sockets for the doors of the innermost part of the house, the most holy place for the doors of the nave of the temple of gold. All the work that King Solomon made for the house of the Lord was completed, and Solomon brought in the things which David his father had dedicated, the silver, the gold, and the cups, and he put them among the treasures of the house of the Lord. And that's it for the first book of Kings, chapter 7. I am definitely going to try to render an accurate picture of that architectural wonder, because I would like to see it. So, to the AI I go. Tomorrow we're going to go into the first book of Kings, chapter 8, the ark brought to the temple. It's a long chapter. It's a lot of things covered. It's also, let's see, what else does it cover? It covers Solomon's prayer of dedication. Oh, so that gives me a chance to make another AI song. What else? The dedication of the temple. Okay. So tomorrow, well, or maybe tonight, I might do it late tonight, will be a long reading. So the first book of Kings, chapter 8, will be a pretty long stream, but that's good. In the book of Kings, let's see how many chapters in total it has. I believe it was only 21 or 22. Yeah, 22. 22. I'm really enjoying the first book of Kings. I know it's a little technical, but I am somebody who likes technicalities. And I like elements pertaining to architecture. So this does appeal to me. Anyway, everyone have a good day. I'm probably going to have to go over on the IP2 project to make a certain announcement in regards to my having to completely cut out of my chat certain people due to a few things going on pertaining to spiritual trafficking and, ironically, the threat of sexual trafficking. And there's just something that crossed my mind as I was reading this that I do need to make known to the public, because it's becoming a little, I won't say I'm fearful. I'm not scared of the situation, but if I was not me, I would be scared. The reason I'm not scared is because I have so much faith in God. But I know to be on guard because of the situation. So I'm going to talk about that probably in an hour or so. Then I'm going to work, and then at some point this afternoon, I need to do a live stream video when it comes to an observable sex trafficker. Definitely going to make sure that that person is known. But I do need to make something known this morning because it's in my mind. So everyone have a great day. Take care and have a good one. Bye-bye.